Good morning. Time to kick off another week of trading. I hope everybody had a great weekend. It was hot as could be here. We're in the 90s once again. They delayed the rain and the cool down to Tuesday now, so we're ever hopeful that maybe fall will start to visit the southern central plains. I put some music up to start the day off. It's got my signatures on it in a minor key, lots of syncopation. Good horn section. Nice way to kick off the day, or if your mood is down, put it on and lift it. We'll start with our usual disclaimer. Hypothetical or simulated performance results have certain limitations, unlike an actual performance record. Simulated results do not represent actual trading. Also, since trades have not been executed, the results may have been overcompensated for the impact of any of certain market factors, such as lack of liquidity. Simulated trading programs in general are also subject to the fact that they're designed with the benefit of hindsight. No representation is being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profit or losses similar to those shown. Whew. Always a mouthful. Anyway, well, I hope you all had a great weekend and time to get with it. China tightened its rules on real estate, took the Hang Seng and Shanghai's markets down. Japan's market is higher because Abe's going to stimulate the market further. And I think he's calling for snap elections, if memory serves me correctly. The EU's markets were split, with France and Germany's higher off of Merkel's election. This is round 4 for Ms. Merkel. The FTSE was lower. Merkel won with lower approval numbers and with fewer members in her party in Parliament, so she'll have a tougher time ruling. But she still is leading that country. The news today for the United States is limited. Chicago Federal National Activity Index up 11/10. No one will pay any attention to this except for the economists. Dallas Fed at 12. So we essentially have no news. 3 Fed governors speak. I think Dudley is the first. And trial balloons for Janet for the Fed this coming December. Raise interest rates, don't raise interest rates. Whatever they say could be the news that drives or sparks today's trading. We'll just have to see. Yellen speaks tomorrow on monetary policy. I forget the name of the group. So today and tomorrow, Yellen and the Fed governors probably will be the source of news. On tap today, Trump's tax package and 3 brackets for individuals, all lower than they are now. I think the top bracket for those evil, wealthy people that screw everything up and try to rule us be lowered from 39% plus to 35%. Corporate taxes are forecast to be at 20%. It really needs to be lower than that. But this, I think, will be the market, or the focus right there is what's the corporate rate going to be. Apple's all over the news advising their suppliers to slow down their manufacturing because of worries about demand for definitely for iPhone 8, which has been met with really virtually no response. And then I think November 3rd is the date for the iPhone 10, which is supposed to retail for $999. So right now, as usual, there's not a clear-cut path upward or downward. The news is mixed. Okay, looking at Trump's tax package, the lack of news, I'm calling for a trading range today. First sell is 31 to 03. Second is 7 to 11. On the buy side, 21s to 25s, 13 to 17. That music I discovered, Snarky Puppy, I followed them kind of for years. They've never done much for me, but they're getting better. But Chris Potter, who is probably the best tenor saxophone player, bebop, traditional straight-ahead jazz, but he does do it differently than the guys back prior to 2000 came over and sat in for a couple of songs when they were on world tour. So I decided to go back and listen to a little bit more Snarky Puppy, and I found some pretty good cuts this weekend. So I've got some new music to listen to for a while. But if you like bebop jazz with a twist, Chris Potter is at the top of the game right now. He is beyond a doubt, the best tenor saxophone player out there. Okay, 2428 is number 1, 3103 cell 1, 7 to 11 cell 2, 8 to 12 number 1, 1 to 5 by 1, 25, 29 by 2. I can't listen to smooth jazz for very long. I call it elevator music because the guys can't play, i.e. they don't know how to improvise. It all sounds the same to me, and that's the problem with pop music. You get these formulas, and in smooth jazz they've got probably a very hard formula, and everybody that wants to sell records or get somebody to produce for them has to present or bring them music based on that formula, and so it gets pretty old pretty quickly, hence the title smooth jazz, as in spoof jazz or elevator music. It's a great way to get introduced to jazz, but it doesn't get you, it's not all the way there just yet, in my not so humble opinion. Okay, gold, as we guessed, would have trouble at 1300, and it did. We had buyers against 90, so I'm guessing in trading range. Try to sell against 1300, try to buy against 90. So sell 1 will be 98 to the buck, sell 2 will be 3 to 5. On the buy side, 90 to 92. And 85, 87. Well, you know, oh yeah, Marcio's good to listen to, but that's it would be closer to rock and roll than it would be to jazz. I listen to Marcio, but he gets old in a hurry too, because the improvisation isn't there with a lot of the other saxophone players out there. But if you want to start or kick a party off, Marcio's a good way to go. Maceo, I mean. He got started with James Brown. He was the saxophone guy that went around with him and wrote his music and held his bands together. And when I listen to Maceo, it takes me back to the James Brown days, who I got to see 5 or 6 times live. Nobody put on a show like James Brown. I mean, he got up and picked up the mic, and he had you for the duration, and he always gave you more. He wouldn't quit. He was the hardest working man in show business, which was one of the lead-in lines, how he was introduced. Okay, 1940 to 50, cell 1. And we'll make 75, cell 2. On the buy side, 119 even, 1910, and 1875. Marcio's got to be happy. Marcio speaks today at 9 Eastern, by the way, so Marcio could shake up the Euro market. Crude oil. Lots of articles over the weekend about when will the bubble burst? Is the economy starting to tank? Will the demand for products lessen? Is the price too low to keep producing shale from the shale strike? I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So crude oil did not get a lot of favorable press this weekend. The formal OPEC meeting will be in November. And again, I think for us as traders, when we go back and we look at the longer term picture, this 50 area right here, if we can stay above 50, you can see kind of a pretty clean break in the market down here, 49.50. If we can stay above 50, we've got a pretty good chance of revisiting at least the 52 area right here, and perhaps 50, 54, 55. So this market is trying to trade higher, doing a pretty good job of it, in spite of all the negative press. See how long we've been in this area right here by looking at the long-term distribution. So fold this in, do an F split. You got your move, pretty clean move out of the middle on the F1 screen. So as long as we stay above 50, this market can trade higher. And so we'll make, looks like we're going to go a little higher here. 51.50, 51.75, stops above 51. Sell 1, 52, 52 and a quarter, sell 2. So the trade is against 52. On the buy side, the breakout came from 75, so 50, 75, 51 buy 1. And 50 and a quarter, 50, 50 buy 2. And to the E-mini, no news to speak of today. Trump's tax package. I think the people will be a little disappointed in only a 20% cut to corporate taxes. It is a step in the right direction, but I don't think it solves a lot of problems. Politically, Trump will be able to get up there and say that he's still taxing the hell out of the rich with a tax rate of 35%. And, of course, the Democrats will say not enough. But the rich don't pay taxes at 40%. People who aspire to be getting rich pay taxes at 40%. They pay, most of the stuff they get is capital gains or tax-free income or etc. Or a trust owns it and they get to use the assets of the trust. So it's all a political sham to get in elected and staying off. And Bernie Sanders, who owns 3 homes, by the way, is a champion of the poor and just against anything that even smells like money. Lives a pretty fat life, all things considered. So that's where we find ourselves today. 2,500 to 2,505 is resistance. We're here. I'm guessing in trading range the best sells against 5, so 5 to 7 is the best resistance. Best support's 90 to 92. So first resistance will be 99.01, sell 1. We can take that trade, and then 4 to 6 would be sell 2. On the buy side, 94, 96, buy 1. Not nearly as good a trade as 90 to 92. But I mean, we could be looking at a 6 to 7 point day as we start things out today. So Dallas Fed's calling for 12. Chicago National Activity Index up 11.11. So not a lot going on news-wise. 3 Fed governors, and Dudley speaks this morning. Let's see what time does Mr. Dudley switch on the mic. 8:30 a.m. Eastern, and then Charles Evans is at 12:40. So we have two of them that will be during market hours. And with that said, I got to get stuff up and posted. I'll be back with you as soon as possible.